Realized I forgot to do a specific step, which is the most important to keep all the trolls out of the chat. Dad burn it. It's nice to see everybody this Monday morning. I didn't know if I was going to go live first thing this morning. I think I was going to go on TikTok and decided it was best for me to come here. For those that don't know, yes, I believe it or not, I do have an office. I've been working on cleaning up my office and cleaning out the Idaho 4. We have, why is this thing not moving? There, I guess the low is really low. On the fan, I need some air circulation in here. Sorta Morta, it's nice to see you. Hello, my love, hello. Give me a second, I'm trying to get, oh good, it finally changed. It finally changed. Good morning, Ginger, Melissa, Wendy. Hi, Seth, it's nice to see you. Good morning. We've had an eventful morning. I don't know where Delilah is. She's roaming the streets here in the house. I'm not sure. She was right here and was playing, and now she's not. I figured I'd come live with you. This is an awesome cup. Absolute awesome cup. And if you like this cup, this what it says on it, this is from Sonia. Wake up, it's going to be a good day with Bullhorn Betty and Delilah. Look at that. And take a bite out of crime. Back when she was so tiny. Look at that tiny little face. When you see her so tiny like this and you see her now, she's starting to grow up. It's breaking my heart. It's breaking my heart. But I'm in the office, so we got buttons to push.
Come on now, that ain't even bullshit. That's horse shit.
Yep.
Shut the front door up. Just go away.
That's what she said. That's what she said. That's what she said.
Just saying. And if you don't know, we ain't playing. Wake up, y'all. It is Monday morning. It is Monday morning. Get your day started right. We're covering the case of Sebastian Rogers. It has been filled with misinformation, chaos, intentional distractions, arrests, and silencing American people on American soil. Crazy, I know. You wouldn't believe this stuff happens in America. But it does. But it does. She decided she wanted up. Say hi, everybody. Say hi. I'm just here. I'm just chilling. I need my mommy. I gotta steal her back for a little bit. I gotta steal her back and get her my hand out of her shirt. It'd be much better. She doesn't do too well. She doesn't like my legs crossed. She doesn't like my legs crossed. There you are, Delilah. What you want? What you want? She just wants to be near mommy. So I hope you guys are having a wonderful day this Monday morning. Yesterday, we had two shows. We're going back to the beginning of this case because of all the misinformation, all the chaos, and the fact that people don't know. I mean, we even put out legit receipts, and we got people calling Seth's work. Who the hell do you people think you are? I mean, I am just saying, do you honestly think you have a right to do that? I never called anybody's work. Never. As a matter of fact, when I got on St. Jude's, I was literally a block away. Just enough to get the footage behind there. Talk to people walking. Never picked up a phone and called somebody's job, especially it being an RN that did it. Are you nuts? Have you lost your ever-loving mind? I don't think you're wanting to get your job called, asking why you're calling people's work in your free time and causing problems in a case. Have you lost your damn mind? It's frustrating. The idiocy on here. And from people that actually have an education and scruples is beyond me. The bottom line is people are assuming Seth was at work. And you know what? Let's give them this. Let's say he took a lunch break. He still can't leave the damn jail, you dum-dums. So you're sitting there trying to ruin this man's life at a jail. What is... I can't. I swear to God, these people are so unaware of what they are doing. They don't even care. They don't care what they're doing to a family. They don't care of wasting resources at a jail. They don't care. These people don't care about this boy. These people just don't care about this boy. But I will tell you, the lady that called, that's an RN, she's got a mugshot too. Just saying. Ain't playing. All I gotta say is wow. Wow, 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 wow. People just need to stay in their own lane. But I digress. I digress. That's not why we're here. That's another distraction, because people can't admit when they're wrong. That's why, right? They are so wrong. And when you produce the receipt to show them how wrong they are, instead of saying, you're right, I was wrong, I got this wrong, advising their audience like they tell me I need to do whenever I get shit wrong, right? They're wrong. Seth was at work. He didn't disappear for 2 or 3 hours. They're wrong. But instead of just acknowledging that they are wrong, they decide to double down after receiving receipts. They have no receipts. None. None. They got no receipts that Seth left work for 2 hours. They expect to say all this salacious stuff without one scintilla of receipts and demand the receipts from you to contradict their bullshit. Happy Monday. Welcome to the shit show. Okay. Bullhorn Betty is present because you can't have a shit show without Bullhorn Betty, right? Thank you, Miss Mobley of 3. I want to thank you so much for sending people to... Oh, I got my first 2 sales yesterday. You need to send me your link again because I'll post it some more. I love your little stickers. I love them. If you guys don't know, I wish you would send it. I know you sent it to me before, but honestly, I lose everything. It's not my fault. It is my fault, but it's not my fault, okay? I take personal responsibility for being totally unorganized. But you need to send it to me again. I'll make sure that we get it out. So thank you. Thank you. Aw, I love it. I love it. You guys got to go over to our shop. We support each other, right? Oh, I am Team Summer. How is your hand, my love? I hope you're doing well. I hope you're doing well. So where we left off yesterday is we're going back to the beginning of this case. We're going back to the drawing boards because we've got too many buffoons on the streets of YouTube that don't know what the hell they're doing but act like they do and can't even acknowledge when they're wrong, right? I mean, that's just a problem here. Why would you go to a channel that lies to you and when they are faced with the truth will not concede that they told you wrong, right? Why? Do you remember how many years? Oh, you got this one little fact wrong. What did I say? Well, you know what? You said it was 63 degrees, and what else? Oh, it was only 61 degrees. Like those details don't matter. But you're going around telling somebody that Seth disappeared for 2 solid hours, and when you're presented with the information, you're arguing about whether he got a lunch break or not. It doesn't matter. The man can't leave the jail, dum-dums. Can't leave the jail. Why don't you just acknowledge to your audience you got it wrong and you are sorry for getting it wrong? Seems like a novel idea. But we got too many arrogant pieces of garbage on these streets. You know? And a lot of people go over there and support the misinformation campaigns while pointing the finger at everybody else that actually has legit receipts. Oh my God. Well, let me tell you this. Because I could literally tell you guys everything that I want or I think could happen, right? And tell you guys it's fact and have these assholes produce me the receipts to contradict it. I've never heard of anybody doing such a thing. Either open your mouth with receipts or shut your damn mouth. If you don't like what I'm saying, don't come over here. If you have a problem with Bullhorn Betty, stay away, right? Stay away. But sitting here every day condemning a man out looking for his son, and when you are produced with the damn receipts, you want to validate them? Have you lost your damn mind? Do you honestly think you're entitled to call somebody's work and talk to them and interrogate them? Somebody's job, real life. Would you like me to do that to the other parties? Because we can start a whole phone campaign pertain to other people's jobs and stuff like that, right? We could. I would never. These people have lost their ever-loving minds. Tell them to stay away from people's jobs unless they want us to start calling theirs. And trust me, we will. Because we know these stupid idiots that are on TikTok. We know these stupid idiots that are on here. Well, most of the people that run their mouth on YouTube are felons and can't even get a job at the Slurpee machine at the 7-Eleven. So we know that, okay? So why are we listening to criminals give us news with no education, right? They're going to say, well, Betty was arrested. Yeah, I was. I was arrested and charged with 2 DUIs and a violation of probation. Doesn't change the fact I'm college educated, work for attorneys, and I have a lot of skill and knowledge when it comes to these cases. What do they bring? A rap sheet. That's it. Oh, and a lot of children being removed from their custody. Never had that go on in my house either. Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers has been missing for a significant amount of time, and his bio father, Seth Rogers, is not responsible at all. Period. Exclamation mark. Let's move on. So we've been going through the beginning of this case. We've been listening to what all transpired. We've learned that there's no sighting of Sebastian outside of the Texas Roadhouse sighting at 6:30 on February 25th. We have no video of Sebastian leaving his home. We have no scent from a dog of Sebastian or where he may have traveled barefoot. And so we got up to about the 6th day last night, and on the 6th day, things were kind of quiet. There was only maybe 2 articles that were released, probably more, but they were basically the same thing. You know, we're reaching the 6th day, nothing really to see over here. You know, we heard from Widener and Craddock, and them talking about this child should be 0.2 of a mile based on the statistics, based on the patterns of these types of cases. Well, he was not. They had a 2.5 mile radius that was expanded to 5 miles. He was not in it. They even started sending people and giving be on the lookouts all the way up to Clarksville, Tennessee. They saw nothing. The Davison County Sheriff came on for an interview with Nick Barris and was explaining why they weren't involved in any of the searches. And they also, with the conversation of general policy, and, you know, after a few days, they would most likely believe foul play is involved. This was back when Nick Barris actually had common sense, and since then has changed his position quite wildly, which to me feels like it was pressured for him to do that. Then we get, as I said, day 6, and right after that, we learned that the mom and stepfather had an interview on another content creator's channel, almost as if it's a dry run for the next day, which is going to be with an actual news organization. So because of the dislike that Duchess and her team has for Bullhorn Betty, which is now a reason why I really dislike them. It's not because I have any reason to dislike them other than they dislike me. And the fact that they're horrible, horrible interviewers. They put words into their interviewee's mouth. If you know anything about me, I ask questions and I shut my mouth so we can get an idea of what's really going on. I don't interject commentary for the people, the subjects I'm interviewing. This lady does, but she wants to be so emotional because she's not a professional. For all those people in the back. Now, it's nice to see everybody this morning. I'm getting a little animated and excited because I'm sick of the...
Warning, bullshit alert.
Just saying. Just saying. All right. Yes. We got this. So let me just give you guys, actually, before we do that, let me just give you guys a rundown real quick. So we already did this so many times. I've actually got notes. So that's why I went ahead and killed the live last night, because I didn't have my notes in front of me. And I didn't want to have to try to wing it yesterday. So it was about 23 minutes into Dutch's first interview. It's a 3-3 interview. It even says first interview. I'll just let you guys see it. I wouldn't want to, you know, let's see. Right there. You guys see it. Right there. There's the title of it right there. Okay? There it is. So, there we go. Oh, did I say that I missed something? Hold on here. Sorry, guys. Oh, look at that. We got Miss Motley of 3. Thank you. Holly S. Let's see. CP time card next. Fair is fair. Exactly. Exactly. But these hate channels, they will never be able to have receipts or any actual information. They have to go by innuendos, right? Oh my gosh, well, let's see how far we can pick this apart. They're like, well, you cut the email off because you're not privy to that. I'm just showing you that it came from the, well, that's going to cause speculation because you're a fucking idiot. Excuse my language. Sorry, not sorry. But, you know, I can't fix your stupid, okay? If you can't realize this is legit and you've got to actually call somebody, you're an idiot. And if you don't like it or I offended you, good, because you're an idiot. Just saying. Ain't playing. All right. So about 23 minutes into this is when they welcome Katie and doesn't show any faces. There are no faces. It appears that Duchess spoke with them earlier. So right at 23:55, the day starts, the day SR went missing. He did have a good weekend, actually. So we can kind of start there. But the crux of this really does start at 25:36 into this, and that's when they start going through the timeline. So since it's only about a minute and a half before they start the timeline, I'm going to go back to 23:55. That'll work. I'm going to go back to 23:55. Thank you. And that's where we're going to start. And it's going to last, I think this part only lasts for, I think what we need on this one only lasts for just a few minutes, maybe 20 minutes, I would believe, perhaps. I'm not sure. But we'll start right here. I'm going to go ahead and put this back up. This is where we left off last night. I kind of gave you a brief rundown of where we are. I hope everybody's having a great Monday morning. As you know, it really gets under my skin that these people keep going real life and think that they are entitled to this information. They are lucky I produced what I produced to them, but that was to shut them up. But now they think, oh my God, well, she produced it. We have a right to brigade a small jail like Davison County just to see if we can get Seth fired. Anybody that did that, you guys need to be shaming them and telling them this real life stuff needs to stop. If they want to go do boots on the ground and do it properly, that's one thing. But sitting on their ass and harassing, using the phone, yes, by the way, that is actually constitute as harassing a company, a business, something you're not entitled to. It is beyond me. Good morning, Pebbles. It's nice to see you. Absolutely beyond me. So, Miss RN, bad move, chica. That's all I got to say. Bad move, chica. Danellen, oh my God, who is doing this that tried to get Seth in trouble? This dumbass is on TikTok. And they're bouncing between TikTok and here. And it's people that are doing nothing but that are getting paid to cause drama in this case. Okay? These people have received quite the lump sum of cash. It's very concerning. Very concerning. And I hope law enforcement starts investigating that. A real crime instead of somebody driving around with a camera hanging out of their car on public roadway. Just saying.
That's what she said.
So we're going back, and now we're going to listen to the very first interview. And why did I check this interview out? I'll tell you why I checked this out. Because I have high respect and high regard for Chris McDonough. Now, again, I'm sure he's probably not a Bullhorn Betty fanatic, okay? Whether he is or not doesn't change my viewpoints on the man, okay? I can understand why he would have some issues. Just saying, not playing, right? No, I'm just joking. But he had Steve Johnson on. And I have high regards and high respect for Steve Johnson. And Steve Johnson went to the 3-5 interview, I think is what it was. I thought it was 3-4, but I think it's 3-5. Either way, like I said, I believe this was the dry run for that interview with mainstream media, possibly, potentially, I don't know. And he said one thing. Steve Johnson said we need to find one of the oldest, the first time, like the oldest interview they have, because that's closest to the time of events, and that's really what we need to hear. And they were doing the green shirt interview. And so I remember hearing, I had never watched it, but I did remember hearing that there was another interview, and dug in and found out it was Duchess. I didn't know who Duchess is. But I can tell very quickly she's not a fan of Bullhorn Betty. I could care less. I'm not a fan of hers, okay? After watching this interview, I was very nice when we first watched it. But quite frankly, I think if she shut her mouth just a little more and let them answer the questions, it would have been a better interview. Just my personal view, okay? If she doesn't like me because of my opinion of her interview, oh well, right? It is what it is. Take constructive criticism. But that's kind of where we are in this interview. And you guys will see what I'm talking about when you start hearing her, because sometimes it's just really annoying and you just want to say,
Shut up.
Just saying. All right, let's get started. That's about as good as I'm going to be able to get it.
Walk us through what that looks like again for everybody.
He did have a really good weekend, actually. When we come home from having supper that evening, he was playing. When he went to bed, when I told him to go to bed.
First thing I notice out the gate. Did you guys get it? Should we go back to it? You want to know what it was? Where's him taking the garbage out? Let's go back.
Evening. He was playing. When he went to bed, when I told
When he went to bed, he was playing and he went to bed. Did he take a shower? Did he brush his teeth? Or did he just climb right in bed with stank breath? You know? I mean, it makes you wonder. But let's listen to that again. No garbage. No, it's his chore to take the garbage out.
actually. When we come home from having supper that evening, he was playing. When he went to bed, when I told him to go to bed, he said, "I love you, Mama," and he said, "I love you, puppies." A little later in the evening, I myself went to bed, and when I went to wake him up for school, he wasn't here.
Might be, teenies. Very general. We went out to eat. He came home. He played. He went to bed. He said, "I love you, Mommy. I love you, puppies." And I woke up the next morning and he was gone. Let's keep going, because they kind of dive in a little bit more into the details.
And you did tell me that Sebastian is not a runner.
He's not.
It's okay. Take your time.
Sebastian does not have a history of running. The young man doesn't go outside.
Good point. That's not that. It does come up in this one, more drama. It does come up. Hey, Okay, cheeky. They tried again. Boo. Oh, yes, I heard that. Actually, I heard reports that it was just a gunfight down the road, but now we know for a fact this was a second attempt. But in all fairness, he was prepared for the second attempt. He was prepared for it. People had been talking about a second time, and here we go with this. Listen, I don't care what side of the aisle you vote on. I don't care. You know, I vote the way I vote, right? And I respect everybody else's right to vote the way they vote. When you think you have a right to take somebody's life over politics, I think that's disgusting. But we deal with a lot of disgusting people on this platform, okay? We deal with a lot of people that do horrible, horrible things. Whether you like Donald J. Trump or not, he doesn't deserve to lose his life. Just like if somebody didn't like you, you don't deserve to lose your life, okay? Oh, it's me, Jen. I was thinking about you this morning. I don't know where you popped into my head. I'm like, I wonder how she's doing. I was going to reach out to you later today, but I'm full of all this court shit, you know? So I apologize for not reaching out, but good morning, my love. I hope you're doing well. Sick cultish behavior. Yeah, I thought we were the cult, but we don't injure people. Just saying. Anyways, just for everybody out there, I just want to be very clear on it. You know, I respect everybody and everybody's opinion. It's a yin and a yang situation. I believe we need both to survive and to have that even keel, but it hasn't been that way. It's been so pulled to the left in the last, I'd say 4 years, 5 years, 6 years. Well, actually almost 10 years now, because it started about 2015 when people were able to just act like heathens and have no responsibility or take no accountability for that, you know. But for each and every one of you guys have a right to vote the way you want. You have a right to do whatever you want in America as long as it's lawful and legal. And you know, at the end of the day, I could give two hoots what it is that you do. BHB, I sent an email last night. Love you all. Thank you, Jennifer. I'll check it out. I know I had a lot of emails this morning and I needed to get started on the legal paperwork and I needed to get this. And of course, I woke up late. I went to bed early. Like after I got off the live, I think I was there for, 15, I think I was awake for 15 minutes and then I was done. I just felt myself falling out. Boom, 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 boom. And I didn't wake up. I tossed and turned. My back was hurting last night for some reason. I took some, did I forget to take my ibuprofen this morning? I sure did. But either way, I woke up late this morning, so I'll get around to them. Thank you so much. And thank you for the super sticker. So let's get back to this. So now we're getting up to this. Many people just noticed that he didn't, there was no phone call in this version, but it's going to be later down because I got notes in here. And this is one that you'll hear. And it's actually about to come up, as a matter of fact. So let's get back to this, guys, and then we'll chat in just a second.
Very much. I mean, everybody in the neighborhood knows him. He is very to himself, so to speak. Between the hours of 12 and 6, he is basically vanished.
He is basically vanished. So in this version, now they're going to talk about stuff here in a bit, but so far, no phone call, no trash taking out, and no walking out the door. He just vanished.
Walked out of the house, the door was locked and gone.
There it is. There it is. Let's listen to that. Had to fix it.
12 and 6. He is basically vanished. Walked out of the house, the door was locked and gone.
He didn't take the phone. None of his shoes are missing.
Now, you told me that night that, now, Chris.
Here it is. This is the breakdown. Is that where I'm at? Yep. 25:36 is where we start getting to the breakdown of the events that happen. I want you to listen very clearly because Duchess is going to speak about what she spoke. Instead of asking them, even though she knew the answer to it, she tells their story first, which in this case, I think was important because they had talked to her previously before going on her panel, and this is what her understanding was. So pay very close attention to this.
You were at work. You were out of town at work,
Yes,
so
ma'am.
you were not even home.
Correct, ma'am.
And Mom, you fell asleep on the couch about 10 o'clock, but you said that Sebastian went to bed at 9 p.m. And then you got up off the couch and you went to bed, and you said that was around midnight.
Midnight.
And nothing was unusual at that point. Everything seemed okay.
You notice Chris did not allow her to answer that question before he interjects. Let's go back just a few moments.
Mom, you fell asleep on the couch about 10 o'clock, but you said that Sebastian
So she fell asleep on the couch. Let's listen to what Katie's saying as well.
fell asleep on the couch about 10 o'clock, but you said
She's saying, yep, 10 o'clock. So she fell asleep on the couch at 10 o'clock. I want you to hear that. She fell asleep. This is out of her own mouth. She fell asleep on the couch at 10 o'clock or around 10 o'clock.
you were out of town at work.
Let's keep going all the way
The
back.
door was locked and
Let's
gone.
listen.
He didn't take a phone. None of his shoes are missing.
Now, you told me that night that, now, Chris, you were at work. You were out of town at work,
Yes,
so
ma'am.
you were not even home.
Correct, ma'am.
And Mom, you fell asleep on the couch about
Morning,
10
Sonia.
o'clock, but you said that Sebastian went to bed at 9 p.m. And then you got up off the couch and you went to bed, and you said that was around midnight.
Midnight.
And nothing was unusual at that point. Everything seemed okay.
Here it
There's
is.
actually a piece.
So this, we now confirmed. She says, yes, I went to bed I fell asleep on the couch at 10. Sebastian went to bed at 9, and I went to bed around midnight. And she said, yes, midnight. Okay. Now, Chris is interjecting when she asked a question about anything unusual, didn't allow Katie to answer that question. Now we're going to listen to what Chris is interjecting. This is where it gets hinky for me.
So to make something very crystal clear, so that way there's transparency across the board. Me and the mom were on the phone at 9:43 or 9:46 in the evening.
9:43 or 9:46. Very specific. Out of the whole entire conversation, the 3-minute conversation we've heard so far, this is the only very specific time that has been spoke at. 9:43 to 9:46. Now, we just heard in the sentence before that Mom fell asleep on the couch at 10 p.m. So that would mean that she literally fell asleep between 7 and 14 minutes, 13 minutes, 7 and 13 minutes, or 7 and 12 minutes. 7 and 13 minutes. 43, 46, it's only 3 minutes. Yeah, 17 or 14 minutes after the conversation. So let's go back. Sorry, I don't want to keep interrupting. Let's listen to what they say.
Clear, so that way there's transparency across the board. Me and the mom were on the phone at 9:43 or 9:46 in the evening. We stayed on the phone for quite some time. The call logs have been verified.
We stayed on the phone for quite some time.
By all the police departments, TBI included. We stayed on the phone. It was very lengthy. Mom
It was very lengthy.
did slightly start falling asleep while she was on the couch.
She started to slightly fall asleep on the couch, much different than falling asleep on the couch at 10. So is he playing damage control, or is this the truth about what happened? Or is it another manipulation? I don't know. Believe the call was verified by who? Himself? Nah. Well, Danella, no, I do think that that's the reason why they're talking about it, is because law enforcement had questioned them about the call. 45-ish, but fell asleep at 10. Exactly.
I had said, hey, you need to wake up, put the dogs up.
So he's basically saying he stayed on the phone with her for 2 hours while she's snoring in the phone. That doesn't make sense because he's also saying we had a lengthy conversation. How can you have a lengthy conversation with someone by them falling asleep on the couch? His statement is polar opposite of what was just stated as confirmed by the mom.
We stayed on the phone. It was very lengthy. Mom did slightly start falling asleep while she was on the couch.
How does he know where she was? I mean, do you talk to your spouse and say, "Oh yeah, I'm just sitting on the couch. I'm cozied up on the couch"? How does he know where she was? How does he know she wasn't up walking around, walking into the kitchen, walking into the bedroom, folding laundry? Perhaps.
Today, you need to wake up, put the dogs up, go to bed. Now, mind you, that was right around midnight. Just
midnight. They are very honing in on midnight. Very, that is, to me, this whole midnight thing was the purpose of this interview, is to hone in that everybody was asleep at midnight.
Before midnight or right around midnight.
Mm-hmm.
So then mom does go to bed and wakes up early in the morning to go wake her son up, get him ready for school. And now we have a worried mom who can't find her son in the house.
A worried mom that can't find... Dude, that seems distancing. I don't know. It feels like distancing language.
Mom made an effort to look and search several times. Mom has called me at the time and asked me, she was like, "I can't find him." I was like, "Do what?" And she goes, "Yeah, I cannot find him." I said, "Well, hang on." I made the phone call and reported it to the sheriff's department because that's what we're supposed to do. And within 10 minutes, the sheriffs were dispatched to the location.
No, mom at this point didn't leave the home, didn't go anywhere. Garbage cans not taken out. No phone call until later. Then we learn about this phone call after we realized she fell asleep at 10. And then they had a lengthy conversation. So clearly she didn't fall asleep on the couch at 10. It looks like she would have probably fell asleep on the couch around, I don't know, 11:30ish. You know, I'm confused here.
And you had told me that there hadn't been any particular situation that had occurred where you felt like there would have been something that happened. And I also had asked you if there were any friends that Sebastian might have possibly left the house with, or if he had any contact with anyone on social media. Do you want to comment about that again?
He doesn't have a social media.
Okay.
And the only friends that he had were a couple of kids in school.
Okay.
A couple kids in school that were friendly with him, a couple. Okay, so we need to understand that he has no real friends that come over to his house. The neighbors had spoken later on the record that, yes, we knew of him, but we never saw him. So you're talking about a kid that never really went outside. You know, that never really went outside. We have to question that. Why? Why?
The kids that have had any interaction with him have been interviewed and asked.
Okay.
We as parents know how social media can be.
Right.
And seeing how kids can be easily manipulated.
He's very young in mind.
Yes.
Do we think maybe the reason why they were so adamant that he didn't have a social media so other family couldn't reach out to him, as opposed of this predatory thing? Because there's some really strong behaviors from mom and stepfather when it comes to the internet, like almost overboard, if you will, in my opinion.
Yes, he may be, he's about 15 and he's 15 in age in his body, but his mind is not caught up to his body. But that is something that goes through with autistic children, as everybody would know. But for the record, I am a very strict parent. He does not have social media.
So Chris is acknowledging that he is the authoritarian. He didn't say Katie. He didn't say we are strict parents. He said, I'm a strict parent.
Everybody would know. But for the record, I am a very strict parent. He does not have social media. Not in our household. He doesn't online game. I'm pretty strict when it comes to that kind of situation.
Well, that's good. That's good, Chris, that you have control of that, because social media can be very dangerous for young kids because they don't realize who they...
That's the reason we have now parental controls. Parental controls.
May be talking to on social media. So it's always good to have that awareness and to make sure you're monitoring, what your kids are doing. So I had asked you both, did you have any idea what would make Sebastian want to suddenly leave the house? And you told me, well, that's the $1 million question that everybody wants to know. All the detectives, they've all asked that same question. What is it that happened that caused him to leave the house? And I know you must be so worried and so concerned. Is there anything, if Sebastian were listening to this live stream right now, if you knew that he was out there, what would you want to tell him?
That we love you and to come home.
It's pretty simple. This boy has a very large family that everybody is asking the question, where are you? We love you, and please come home.
Yes. We definitely need to find him as soon as possible. If you live in this area, please search your property every day. He could be on the move. Just because you've already searched your property one time doesn't mean that you don't need to continue to search your property on a daily basis, just to be sure. If you have a lot of land, it needs to be searched, just to be sure, because he may be lost. He may be somewhere and he can't find his way back. So that's why it's very critical. Can you talk to me about the search and rescue efforts? Are they searching on land, air? They also have dive teams there. What can you tell us about that?
So currently, as of today, the National Guard was also brought in to help with the search. But they have had fixed-wing aircraft, helicopters, horseback ATVs, side-by-side, door-to-door, scouring every neighborhood possible. The outreach from the community and various counties has been extremely welcoming, loved. We've been told this is probably one of the largest searches that they've conducted, with so much input that it's a case to be studied for sure.
Yeah.
A case to be studied for sure. A case to be studied for sure. That's not very promising on March 3rd, that they don't foresee this child coming back again. And listen to his words, okay? This is not my words. Listen to what he says.
They're just searches that they've conducted with so much input that it's a case to be studied for sure.
You have a lot of people that are praying and supporting you right now. Was his ask, would he be able to ride a city bus?
Nothing is off the table as far as abilities. Could the young man get on a bus? I'm sure he could.
Could the young man, not my son. Could the young man. That's, wow. The language. The distancing. He acts like, in my opinion, the way he's talking, he acts like he's the officer, you know, an officer unrelated to a child giving statements about it.
We've never done it before.
We've never rode a city bus, so I don't think he understands the process. He doesn't have any sense of money. He may have, like, let's say a $20.
But he has no money. He's got nothing. Did they ever say anything about any money missing? Was there any money missing? Did mommy and daddy, were they missing $20 or $40 from their wallets?
Sense of money. He may have, like, let's say a $20 bill in his hand, but he doesn't truly understand what $20 would get him.
He's good
Right.
at it, but he doesn't
I understand.
time and money.
And single mom says, does he want his real father? Maybe. I'm just asking. Well, it turns out, single mom, that, you know, he sees his real father every other weekend, and the real father, he is heavily involved in this situation and is aware, and he doesn't know where Sebastian is either, correct?
Correct. I mean, I can tell you this.
His father's very much involved in his life.
Yes, very much involved in his life. The relationship between all three of us as parents is not your common one. I mean, me and the father talk on a regular basis. We call each other. We talk. Hey, if we heard anything, how's he doing? Is he acting up? You know, I mean, it's not. There's no really animosity in between the parents.
We learned that to be untrue. We learned that Chris was the buffer. So we know this isn't true. That there were some problems there. You know, that clearly the mom did not want to speak to Seth very much. It seemed like the stepfather was the go-between.
That's good. That's good. Discovering the truth. Thank you for being here. They say, did he have any special interest, like trains, parts, friends, maybe a school bus route that he loved? My son elopes and loves trains, so he heads to the tracks.
He loves playgrounds.
Yeah, he loves playgrounds. I mean, he loves to play. I give him that. Friends-wise,
He wants friends.
Sebastian, his idea of his friend is right now is what he has 2 kids that he talks to at school, but he is extremely socially awkward, and so it's very difficult for him to make friends, which has been this boy's only lifelong dream. He Christmas, what do you want for Christmas? I want friends. Birthday, I want friends. Anything that he could do to get a friend, he would love to do it, which...
I just want to tell you, we heard the interview from the teachers yesterday. Remember? The teachers, they were talking so highly of Sebastian. I just want to remind you of that.
It's potentially dangerous because that could open up doors for somebody to say, hey, I'll be your friend, and potentially cause harm.
Kim Holmes asked if there's any cameras in the area, and I did see, Kim, that they were asking for people that had any Ring doorbell footage or any businesses that had camera footage. Talk to us about that, Chris. We did speak about that briefly earlier, about the people getting all the footage, but they haven't found anything.
Bingo, Wendy.
Our entire neighborhood and surrounding neighborhoods have voluntarily and with generosity given up any video footage that they've got. I mean, they have let the apartments come in and view and monitor. So as far as cameras, everybody has turned over everything. There's thousands of hours of stuff that they are combing through to try to find an answer.
It looks like Tish is local to the area. She said, I go to the grocery store or anywhere, and our eyes are peeled looking for him. I work at a local restaurant, and I'm checking cars as they come through the drive-thru every day. Bless you, Tish. I know this family is very grateful. Discovering Truth says, so he probably knows the route to his father's house, so maybe he was in the process of heading in that direction.
That has not been ruled out. I mean, like I said, the search that they are conducting is extremely widespread and thorough.
Okay. Extremely widespread and thorough. But no fingerprints at this moment. No forensic testing at this moment. And they're being very wide-ranged and thorough. They tossed a room. They tossed a room at Seth's house. But no forensics testings have been done at either location. At either location.
So nobody is ruling that out as a possibility.
But normally when he wants to go to his dad's, he just says so. And we just call his dad.
Yeah, I mean,
So there you go. So why, if he wanted to get out of the house and run away, why he wouldn't call his father? Why he wouldn't pick up his phone and call his dad? He had a phone.
Dad will come down here. We meet him halfway. I mean, he's never wanted to go to his dad's and not been able to go. Let's put it that way.
Right. Thank you.
And that, I want to bring that. Many people think that this whole disappearance is because of a custody thing. She didn't want Seth having Sebastian. But you're hearing right here, that if he wants to go, they'll call him and let him go. It doesn't sound like they're overly concerned that he's being abused at his father's house, which is what a lot of people are implying this day and age. So, you know what I'm saying? It seems to me a little odd, if you will. Just saying. Because their statements aren't boding in with what the new narrative is. Just saying.
Being a member for 6 months. All of this is very, very helpful to help us, better understand the situation that we're dealing with. And I did see a post on Facebook that it looked like everybody was asked to wear green on Friday because green is Sebastian's favorite color. What else can you tell us about Sebastian?
I want to let you know that we've got several photos in of people from here in the United States all the way in other countries, Canada, UK, and Ireland, that are lighting their houses up green for Sebastian Rogers. And I just want to thank everybody for sending me your photos. Please, if you guys would like to, continue to send those to me. I've got green lights myself coming in, and I will be lighting my yard up, my front yard up as well in green. And I will be taking a picture of that as soon as I have the time to decorate. Yay! But I'm just talking about how warm it is that so many people are coming together for this young boy that they did not know and really showing honor to him. And, I can't be any more happy than I am seeing all these photos of green.
He's an avid Minecraft fan. Loves the color green. It's got the goofiest and quirky smile in the world. I don't think anybody could mimic it, to be honest with you.
He looks like he's such a sweet young man. He
loves to dance. That boy he'll dance his tail off.
There's nothing wrong with that. Dancing is good for you. It's good exercise too.
He's good.
I just really hope they can find some answers. Now, I did ask you guys because,
Thank you, DNA.
I know that sometimes when we're looking for autistic children that go missing, a lot of times people are concerned that they may be attracted to go towards the water. So talk to us about that. Is he a good swimmer? Does he like to get in the water? I think you did mention some things about that to me earlier.
So he's a fish in the water. I'm gonna tell you right now that but here's the distinction. He is not a child that likes to get dirty. He can't stand his hands dirty. He can't stand bugs. He is fearful of flies and things. So if he swims,
So I want you guys to hear that again, because this is one of the reasons why it makes it very difficult for me to believe that this child would just never runs away from home, does not, never runs away. Sorry, I had coffee this morning with milk, a latte. So it does something to my throat until it's done doing its thing. But anyways, these are the reasons why it makes it very difficult. Is we learned that Sebastian Waindrake Rogers had an event where he stood in ants. And this ant event was so traumatic for him. From that point forward, he started putting on shoes and socks every time he left the house. It's just something that an event happened. He's autistic, and so he prevented it from happening again. So he always put on his shoes and socks. So that was, we didn't learn of that until a little later. So none of us was at this point really even thought anything about him leaving the house without shoes until we heard that very specific story, which now we know is something that has been acknowledged. So now we're past that, but at this point we had no knowledge of the shoes. But they're saying that this boy left. But earlier in this interview, they said, one, he doesn't really have friends. He doesn't really go outside and play with anybody. He's not a runner. So he's never really left this house without somebody knowing about it in the past. And now we're learning he doesn't like bugs. He doesn't like fly. Let's listen to what is being said here, because what would inspire this child to walk out of a home in the middle of the night with all of these things that he hates? It seems like as soon as he would have walked out the house at night and a bug hit him, he would be having a meltdown or running back inside the home. Children that are autistic don't like change. Change upsets them. For example, he was supposed to go to his father's house, Seth Rogers' house, to live with him. And what did he not like? He didn't like the online school thing. Even though his father knew it was going to help get him, into the new school, it wasn't a forever thing to be homeschooled. It was just until he got comfortable to move into a new school with new people, new teachers. And he didn't like the change. Sebastian did not want to do the online schooling. So there were some conversations about that. So that shows you children that are autistic don't like change. A child was just diagnosed and placed on medication. The medication could have caused him to act differently. He wasn't just diagnosed. I think he had a diagnosis. If Seth's in the chat, he might be able to clarify a little bit better. But I think it was within the last 2 years, if I'm not mistaken. So he had been on the medication for some time. It was already regulated in his system, from my understanding. However, how many bugs are in February? Maybe you're right. But there are bugs. There are bugs that come out, whether it's cold or not. I don't know if bugs can feel cold or not. I don't know. I'm not. He was 13, I think. Gotcha. See, so his medication, he wouldn't have been on a new medication, in my opinion. Now, I don't have his medical file. I don't know. I don't really ask. I get stuff here. I get stuff there. And it's usually pulled from these interviews. But let's listen to what is being said about Sebastian's dislikes. This is coming in their own words, right?
But here's the distinction. He is not a child that likes to get dirty. He can't stand his hands dirty. He can't stand
no dirt. So even if there was no bugs, what would be out there? A whole bunch of dirt.
Bugs. He is fearful of flies and things. So if he swims, he is a pool kid. He's not I'm a river and a stream kind of kid. He is.
Which is where law enforcement went, which was very concerning for me, because it sounds like they knew that he wasn't really attracted to rivers or streams.
Swimming pool bound.
Discovering the truth, I'm sure that they are probably looking into that. Now, I know that you said there was some misinformation that was going around and you wanted to make a clarification. You did tell me that TBI, was assisting, but that there was some confusion. People thought that FBI was actually assisting in this case. Talk to me about what you spoke about earlier to me on our phone call about how FBI is, that they were consulted, and the card team, I guess there is a discussion going on as to whether he qualifies as, for the child abduction response team.
So the FBI is not physically on the ground.
So we learned that the FBI was not physically on the ground.
Somewhere in one of the news clips, I think it was reported that the FBI had made it on the ground. They're not. TBI, Tennessee Bureau of Investigations, has reached out to the behavioral analysis team, or their CART team, and they are trying to work with them from a distance. They're not physically present, to help in any way, form, shape that they can render their assistance.
Okay. Light and sound, thank you for being here. Have burner phones been looked into? I know some teens sneak phones from their parents, or maybe his computer use at school, to see if he has been chatting.
Evidence of a secret phone?
Okay, good.
There's no evidence of a secret phone.
Good. Because digital evidence is really important. They want to make sure that he's not speaking to anybody. This is such an unusual case.
This case is extremely unusual. Like I said before, we are pretty strict when it comes to certain things.
We heard, just to let you know, Karen, that he had the code to the front door, and that's why they keep thinking he walked out the front doors, because that's the only one he would lock, and the only one they allege that he came in and out of the most, which is pretty surprising because he doesn't really go outside, according to the mom and the stepfather, yet he uses the front door. But every time we talk or have neighbors confirm anything, he's driving in with his mother in her vehicle and going in through the garage door. So I'm very confused about, how often he really does truly use the front door. But, again, I don't live there. I don't know the answer. But it does sound like he does have the code to that door so he could get in. But you know what? I keep listening to my door lock on my front door, and it makes a lot of noise opening. The electronic lock is not silent. Does anybody else have electronic locks? And if you do, are they loud or are they silent? Mine's loud. Like, you can hear it. It goes, like it's, and when you have a completely silent home, it sounds like it would be blaring like a siren. Just my opinion.
As far as comms, communication, electronic devices, there was only one phone that he had. It was extremely locked down. He had access to his phone, his text message, to only his contacts list, a camera, and a calculator, and that is it.
He's a pretty happy kid usually.
But we're hearing that he wasn't very jovial when leaving the Texas Roadhouse. I did get an email. I will be honest. I got an email from one of our subs. And they said, is it possible? I'm going to throw this out there and let you guys discuss it in chat. But was asked, is it possible that she informed Sebastian at that dinner that he wasn't going to be staying with his father? Could that have been what upset him? Because it didn't seem from, and again, I only remember hearing this comment one time, so I could have the comment completely wrong. And again, if Seth would like to clarify it, he's more than welcome to. But it's from my understanding that he was not as happy, and like when they leave, apparently he's happy, he's skipping, he's just a very jovial kid, just all cheese, right? And so it didn't sound like he was in that mood. And somebody had brought up, and the only reason why I'm bringing this up is because it's one perspective I never even considered. And so is it possible that mom had informed him he would not be going to his father's, and maybe that had been the reason why he wasn't so jovial leaving that? But another reason could be, just bear with me here, that it was an overtaxing day and he was kind of starting to show the signs of an overstimulating day. Is that possible as well? Just perspective. I don't know the answer. It's just talking points.
Seems like it, and I know that you love him very much. I know that I can remember earlier in our conversation you were referring to him as Bubba, and I think that's sweet. I call my son Bubba also, so that really tore at my heartstrings because my son, he's 30, but he's still Bubba to me. So it just, that name is going to stick forever. It's just how it is. Cindy Caton, thank you for being here. She says, are there any old wells that maybe he accidentally fell in, or any areas or mines that he might be at risk of coming in contact with? I know sometimes those things occur out in Tennessee. The divers
don't get all hooked up on Bubba. It's a country thing. You got Bubba, you got Cooter, you got all kinds of different names. When you get into the country and get with country folks, okay? I'm from the country. There's a lot of Bubbas where I come from.
Have they found any possible leads? I know that I heard that there was a possible pond that they were draining. You did tell me they were searching all of the pipes.
Yes. So when it comes to address her question as far as wells and things, I'm sure there's plenty of those around here.
They're searching them.
They actually pulled data for all the caves, underground voids, all of that stuff that could be accessible. They brought in teams from all over the state that specialize in either cave explorations, water recovery rescues. We don't know that they have drained a pond. I can say that much, but they have searched. They've dived them all for sure. They've walked, I couldn't tell you how many miles of creeks and waterways, and they've used cameras. The sewers, it's not really the sewers they're looking in.
Not really the sewers they're looking in. That might be a clue.
It's the drainage pipes. So that's for clarification.
And this just goes back to that kid over in Corpus Christi, Caleb Harris. You know, those sewage pipes weren't checked either, apparently.
Sewer pipes, we're not going to find a child in. Those are enclosed and secured, but
if that was the case, then Caleb Harris wouldn't have wound up where he wound up. Just FYI.
Water runoffs were all searched by a dive team.
Okay. And I know Ginger Snap said as law enforcement looking into the possibility that he met a friend through Minecraft. I hope that they would just go ahead and vet all of that just to make sure, because you never know. I'm not really sure how all of that works because I'm not a gamer, but I know that there are ways that you can communicate, like via Xbox, because my son is a gamer. So and Gabrielle, I believe that you guys were at the Costco on Saturday. That's when you took the picture of him, correct?
Yes, my wife was at Costco on Saturday.
Yeah, not Saturday.
Why would he let her answer?
It's in the flyer where it says Optimism was on a Saturday. They were at BJ's on Sunday.
Okay, and when it
comes to
a restaurant or?
No, they are all wholesale, like a commissary style stores where they sell in bulk.
Oh, okay. So Costco Saturday, BJ's on Sunday.
Yes,
He loves to eat all the samples, and BJ's is new, so I took him.
You're a good mom.
And when it comes to like the one mentioned about Minecraft, like I stated before, he does not have any way to come with anybody on any form of online gaming. That is extremely restrictive. We don't allow that because of what can come of it.
They combed all of the electronics.
I can tell you this with no hesitation. Anything and everything we have given to the police and any other law enforcement to have them completely scan, validate everything, and they are currently. I mean, everything is empty. I mean, they were like, you guys are pretty good.
Everything is empty. Are they saying that they don't use the internet at all? How is she doing her online schooling? Let me listen to that again. How is she doing her online schooling?
Validate everything, and they are currently. I mean, everything is empty. I mean, they were like, you guys are pretty good. I said, yes, sir. We don't believe in allowing the kids to communicate.
Everything is empty, but what about their activity? We definitely know that they were on social media. We definitely know they were on Facebook. How is everything empty? You know what I mean? That's a little I don't know. That seems odd to me because we know that they were on social media. How is it empty? Let's listen to that again. Thank you, Betty Castle. Welcome to this crazy crew we call the Coffee Club.
Currently, I mean, everything is empty. I mean, they were like, you guys are pretty good. I said, yes, sir. We don't believe in allowing the kids to
That doesn't make sense.
Through social media or through...
Because when they get home, I mean, let me know if I'm right or wrong, but when they get home, they would be using the home, like even my phone, it's like whenever I leave here, it goes to my tower's data. But as soon as I come back here, my phone hooks automatically up to my home internet. So it automatically changes from towers to home depending on how your settings are. So how is everything empty? If you know, I may be misunderstanding what is being said here. Okay, there is that possibility, but how is everything empty? That doesn't make sense to me. I'm sorry, it just doesn't.
Any type of gaming.
Looks like Missing in USA says, why are they wanting camera footage from Sunday afternoon? Because
that we cannot release right now.
Okay,
that is not
I
something
understand.
that has been
That doesn't sound very good.
authorized us to
Right.
put out to the public.
And we respect that 100%. Ginger's.
I wonder if all these restrictions were put on Seth that are put on them. It makes me wonder.
That says I was reading that his favorite song is Eye of the Tiger. That's a great song.
He's got an eclectic taste in music. He's a fan of Eddie Vedder. He likes Survivor. Oh yeah, I mean young man has a very eclectic taste in music.
And you told me that
Taylor
he
Swift,
loves to play chess.
Carrie Underwood.
And he loves to play chess,
He
right?
has a crush on Taylor Swift.
Ooh, he has her boyfriend better watch out then. Was 911 allowed to be called? Rhonda asks.
On the cell phone, is that what she's referring to?
Yes, I believe so. Is that what you're asking, Rhonda?
All devices that have communications have the ability to call 911. Believe it or not, most cell phones that are not even connected to service have an ability to actually call 911.
Yeah, you can pick one up off the shelf at a store and most will call.
Yeah. That's become a federal thing. That's not a service provided. That is like a federal thing.
Right.
And restrict safety features even if we could.
Yeah, safety is not restricted in this house.
Okay, I do have one other question before I read what was his is saying. There was something I was going to ask you. Let's go ahead and do was his question right now. Shackle Island Road and New Shackle Island Road, are they in the same area?
New Shackle Island Road runs parallel to Long Island. Old Shackle Island Road is actually farther directionally. It would actually be south in front of the hospital, the Hendersonville Hospital. That is roughly, I think, 4 or 5 miles from our house.
Okay. That Single Mom, that's your favorite song too. Now, something I do want to ask you is, because I've been watching social media, because that's what I do. I share missing cases on lots of different social media platforms, and I was very disappointed when you told me that people were harassing you and attacking you.
It seems, well, we definitely know what they classify as harassment. It's talking on people's platforms and their own platforms, and they don't like their commentary. It's not that they're physically being harassed, called, stalked, or anything like that. It's just that they go on people's channels and says, "Oh, I don't like their commentary. They're harassing me."
Is there anything that you want to put to rest while you're here tonight, or make clear to the public about this situation? I know you told me there was a statement that you wanted me to make about you and the mom and the dad. So if you want to make any clarification about that, you have free reign to do so. We will not allow you to be disrespected here on this platform.
I have no malice or ill intent toward anybody. Everybody has an opinion.
Oh, come on now. That ain't even bullshit.
But what
That's
is
horseshit.
factual is that the father, the mother, and myself have been extremely cooperative. We have been vetted. We have been checked out. We have been questioned and everything of that nature.
Shut up!
And literally have been cleared. There is no wrongdoing. There is no negative input from the parents or any of the family. You know, it's hard for a lot of folks. I mean, I will be honest and say this out loud. I have a custody case that is currently going on in another state, which has been brought to public light because people feel that they want to judge and think that they understand what's currently going on, and they
Shut
don't.
up!
Because of that, I am being looked at in a very foul way. I don't need to repeat anything that's being said, but
Right.
you know,
But
and it's
people that are,
perfectly
there's
okay.
people that's probably seen it on social media, and
Warning, bullshit alert.
All right. I'm trying. We kind of all believe that these things are in conjunction with one another, but again, that's speculative. Just saying.
I want you to be able to have the opportunity to defend yourself. We have 248 people watching right now, and I'm sure that anyone that's watching this on the live stream, please respect this family. I mean, you can't have an idea of possibly what they are going through, and it's really not any of your business what is going on. And I understand that you do see your other child, which, you know, and that doesn't have anything to do with Sebastian, and you guys are on good terms with his father. There's not like there's any custody battle between the mother and Sebastian's father. I mean, obviously, if he wants to see his father, you guys told me that, you know, you just plan to meet up, and it's, you know, it's no big deal. So I've read a couple of...
Well, that Ginger girl, that's exactly why I believe that this was a dry run. It was a very, very small channel that wasn't going to get a lot of exposure.
Heinous things that people are saying, and it just really upsets me to know that people are just going to that without having all of the information and knowing that law enforcement has interviewed, interrogated everyone in your family. They have looked into you. They have all of your devices, and that they basically cleared you guys.
Bullshit detected. Take precautions.
This is a public service announcement that nobody is cleared in this matter. No one. No one. And why? Even though we are told that there is no investigation, criminal investigation, all law enforcement behaviors are leaning to criminal investigation. What makes me say that? Okay, let me explain this. You notice how in the beginning we watched all these interviews up to this point. We went back to February 26th. What did we have? We had Eric Craddock talking. We had law enforcement talking to media. One of the biggest telltale signs of criminal investigation is nothing, right? Everybody shuts their mouth. They clam up. Law enforcement no longer talks to the media, no longer talks to the public unless they have a public information officer, and then that public information officer only releases the details that are already publicly available. That's how it works. So by them not speaking to media, by them not speaking to the family, by them acting the way that they're acting, it is very indicative of a criminal investigation. Why do we know this? Because we see it in every missing person case that takes a turn. We see it in every homicide case. When it goes from missing person to homicide, everything stops. They don't know that this boy is deceased or alive, but there's still a criminal investigation because he hasn't been found in over 7 months, or right about 7 months. Is it 7 months? Not quite 7 months just yet. Just FYI.
Of any involvement in Sebastian's disappearance, and I just wanted the public to be able to hear you say that, because you do have the right to defend yourself, because it's not like you said earlier, it's not about you, it's about finding Sebastian.
Correct.
Yes.
And I just don't want to have people to be dragging you around on social media. Isn't it already difficult enough that your child is missing?
That's beyond words.
I would like to know, because this case wasn't even widely known on March 3rd. People were just now getting involved in the case because, remember, nobody knew this case existed because the family wasn't going public. As a matter of fact, told newscasts that were out there on February 26th not to even videotape the home. Keep the cameras off their home. So nobody even knew about this case. What harassment were they going through at this moment? Because this was literally the first interview. And honestly, I didn't see this interview until, what, was it April or May? Like, I didn't even know about this. This was after Steve Johnson and was on Chris McDonough and was talking about the very first interview. What level of harassment could this family be under at this moment? Nobody knew of this case. Nobody. Not even me. They wanted everyone to believe he just walked out the front door, a runaway, not a kidnapping or foul play, which would bring attention. They were hoping the case would be forgotten or forget about after a couple of days. That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. Well, when we see something this problematic in a case, we dive in because there's something here. When I feel like this is not making sense, there's something seriously wrong, I dive in. And just like everybody else, except people that are haters and on criminal channels, criminals themselves, right? And active, doing things that they're not supposed to be doing things that do not bode with good law. They're doing. I'm sorry, I don't like criminal channels that protect bad guys. And that's what we see over and over again with these channels, and people flock to them for information. It's unnerving. It's frustrating, but this is why we keep going back to the case, because you can't sit here and make these facts up. This is coming right from the mouths of babes. This is coming from all legitimate sources. This is either going to be legitimate sources or them in their own words. Because it's hard. Then we can start seeing how many people just pull crap out of their butts, right? So I think we're just about over this one. Now we're getting on to, okay, so the next one is going to be the March 4th. That's the green shirt interview, which is March 5th. So let's go to March 4th. And now that was March 3rd. They're working every lead that comes in for this child. This is about the time when the Eye of the Tiger is being blasted the day before, trying to help find this teen. East Tennessee Rescue joins into the search of the missing child, Sebastian Rogers. Let's see what happens on the 4th. This is Seth. So Seth was the one that had the first interview that went public. And this was on the 4th, so that means he did this on the 3rd as well.
If you could just first, I mean, as his father, tell me a little bit about your son.
He's got a big heart. He's loving. You know, he's inquisitive.
Oh, you mean he didn't not have friends, didn't do anything, just, you see the difference in the way Seth talked about his son up front as opposed to his mom and stepfather, calling him the boy.
He can be stubborn at times. He loves to play video games. He loves animals. I mean, he thoroughly loves animals. He likes plants. He likes to, you know, grow things. He likes to take care of things. He loves his video games.
Tuesday gone. There's other possibilities of what could have happened. Sure, send them to me that haven't already been debunked right now. I'd love to see what other possibilities we have that have not already yet been debunked. Tuesday's gone. You can send those over to bullhornbetty@gmail.com. Tell me your perspective. Tell me what you think happened, right? The reason why I'm focusing on one set of parent, well, actually just one parent, is because that parent was the last to see this boy. And based upon that parent's own statements, as well as the biological father's own statements, as well as the stepfather's own statements, it makes it almost hardly unlikely that this child will wake up in the middle of the night and just run out the house with no shoes or clothes on. I mean, he had a long sleeve shirt and Adidas style pants with no shoes, and he has sensory issues, doesn't like dirt, doesn't like bugs, doesn't like night, doesn't like loud sounds, but just managed to walk out the door in the front of the house without waking anybody on an electronic door lock. I mean, I'm sorry, but for people that have experience with door locks, have experience in large homes, to some people that doesn't make sense. So if I'm missing something, please, you can correct me at bullhornbetty@gmail.com, bullhornbetty@gmail.com, and tell me your perspective of what other possibilities could have happened, because the abduction theory has been disputed. The met with foul play, right? That has not been disputed. Just saying. This is not me saying it. It's
Boy, the kid loves his video games.
Video games.
What has the last week been like for you as a father?
My heart is missing somewhere out here, and I'm just trying to find him.
You notice how it's all about his son when he gives the interviews? It's all about his son when he gives the interviews.
I don't know where he's at. I can't find him.
And when was the last time you got to...
We'll get to it, Miss Attitude. We'll get to it. We're going from the beginning. They do not believe this child was abducted.
see Sebastian?
Last time he was at my house. So I was supposed to have him last weekend, and it would have been 2 weekends prior. He was at my house, and I got to see him. We got to play video games, watch TV. Had a great weekend.
And I mean, obviously, it seems like, what has it been like working with law enforcement? Have they been great, you know, trying to help you with this search?
They're definitely doing everything that they can to find
Amen,
my son,
Sassy.
and I thoroughly appreciate it. And I hope that they find him every day. I'm waking up hoping that they find him.
And obviously, so he's autistic. Are there any like tendencies that he may have? Like, does he like hanging out like in the trees or by water that could maybe help people find him?
He does like creeks. I mean, he loves to go fishing with me. But if he's in the city limits, he's, video games. He'd probably be, maybe an arcade or something.
Okay. And has he ever done something like this before? Just leave the house for a short period of time or anything like that?
No.
And I mean, how much sleep have you lost over this last week? Walk me through kind of what that experience has been.
I haven't had very much sleep at all. I mean, coffee and energy drinks is my main diet has been.
Yeah. And I know you said you were out there searching. Are there any particular places that you're looking that you think he might be at?
I'm looking everywhere. I'm not from this area, so I don't know him. So I'm just everywhere. I keep telling people, keep your head up and your eyes open.
So this man doesn't even know the area. For all the idiots in the back that want to slam this man and say he did this and he did that, he's saying he doesn't even know the area. It's like,
if you see him, call 911. If my son hears my voice, buddy, you need to get a phone and call 911.
hey, Sandy.
Definitely. And you live in Clarksville, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, but you've been out here in the Hendersonville area just searching for him the last week?
Every day.
And I guess, are you in close contact with his mother and stepfather about the situation?
Not really. I mean, we're in communication at least once a day, but that's about it. I'm looking for him,
Yeah. And I know, obviously with social media, it's tough because as a parent, you just want your kid home, but there's been a lot of, speculation, too, about possible, criminal investigations. I mean, what's kind of your reaction to all of that chatter on social media?
I don't have social media, man.
Okay. But just hearing people kind of speculate about that in the community, I guess, how does that make you feel?
I think they need to, instead of being keyboard warriors, they need to put feet on the ground and start looking for my son. If they really want to help, that's what they should be doing instead of coming up with their own opinion. How about get out there and we find my son?
And how much does your son, Sebastian, mean to you?
He is my life.
Do you have any other kids?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And I guess, is there, anything you want to say? I don't know how well you know the stepfather or the mother, but is there anything you'd like to say about that and that situation and how he just kind of disappeared from the house?
I have nothing to say about that.
Okay. And if you could say something to Sebastian right...
He didn't want to say anything. Did you guys get the hint of that? It just doesn't seem like he was very happy this early on with the story and whatnot.
Now, what would you say?
If you are hearing this, son, you need to tell people who you are and tell them to call 911 for you. You need to tell people that you are Sebastian Rogers and that you need them to call 911.
And anything you'd like to tell him about returning home?
I miss you, buddy. And I'm waiting. I'm here for you. Okay.
All right.
I'll let one so we can find you, man. Come on, son.
Heartbreaking is the only thing I can say about that interview. A polar opposite. Both of these interviews most likely were on the same day, March 3rd, and this one was released on March 4th. But it's hard to hear. I mean, you hear a man that's desperate for answers and willing to bare his soul to the world. Yeah, he doesn't like people's opinions, but he's not saying he's being harassed and all this other stuff because people's opinions. But at the end of the day, there's something seriously wrong here. You know, this has been, by March 3rd, it had been, what, almost a week? Almost a week. Let's go back. Okay, why is this not going back? There we go. So we're there, March 3rd, March 4th, we were just on, there it is, missing teen, Amber Alert, enters its second week, parents discuss his disappearance, and this is where the interview goes. Give me just a second, I need to go pop on mine because I downloaded the whole interview so I didn't have to find it. So let me find this in my videos. Give me just a second. And this is the full green shirt interview. Video, filtered, visibility, private. Let me apply this. We should have it. I thought I had it on private. I remember uploading it. Maybe I didn't do it on this channel. Maybe it was on the other channel. No, I wouldn't have put it on the other channel. There it is. Found it. Oh, it's in unlisted, not private. That's why. Okay. So give me just a second while I pull it up. Oh, because it wouldn't let me pull it up if it's private. Okay.
So we have.
Okay, so let's go back to this. And then after this, we're going to close out because I need to get started on my day.
Wants to hear what you have to say.
Now, this is the second interview that they gave, and this was given this was released, I believe on the 5th is when it was released. So I don't know if it was recorded that day or the day before. I'm unsure. But here's the very first mainstream media interview, and this is the first mainstream media interview after their very first initial interview with Duchess.
And it's all about bringing Sebastian home and safely. So first, just express, I can't even imagine as a parent what you two are going through. How would you describe the situation right now? How are you coping?
I don't know how that was a difficult question that makes her shy and laugh. And, you know, this is not, for me, not nervous. I don't know. People say it's nervousness. I don't know. I don't know if somebody that's going through this horrible, horrible event would laugh versus just break down and start crying. But again, I digress.
We're on a constant roller coaster ride of helpless and hopeless and many other emotions all in one, and it's a never-ending roller coaster. It doesn't stop. It won't stop until he walks through the door.
I wouldn't wish this on anyone.
How easily she was able to get her smile off her face after he started talking and redirecting her.
Not anyone.
I know we're about keeping hope alive. I'm sure that's in there somewhere.
So she has to prompt them. I just want you guys to understand that. She has to prompt them. They're talking about themselves. And she's saying, well, I'm sure him coming back is somewhere in there.
Oh, yeah.
He's gonna
Always.
come home.
He's gonna walk through that door. And the street will be flooded again with family and relatives all waiting to hug and love him. And
That boy's gonna have more friends than he knows what to do with when he comes home.
So here we are, 8 days now searching for him. Walk us through that Sunday night that he went missing. So walk us through, we've got so many people who really want to know.
Sassy Hound, we're going back to the beginning of this case and watching every single thing that has been released to the public. If that's something that you can't handle or don't like, you're more than welcome to leave. Nobody's requiring you to stay here. You definitely don't have to be here, and you definitely don't have to be watching the Bullhorn Betty channel. That's a choice you're choosing to make. So if you'd like to keep going, you can keep going, but I would suggest you just leave my chat, not watch my channel. Might be just a adulting maybe.
Oh, okay, how did this happen? So kind of just walk us through that night.
We were out and about that day. We were having a really good weekend. We got home. Everything was pretty normal. He was playing in his room. When I told him to go to bed, he did. He said, "Good night, Mom, I love you." Said goodnight to his puppies. A little bit later, I wound up going to bed, and when I woke him up for school, he wasn't there.
So in your mind, that's usually around what time? So when do you normally wake up? Around 6 o'clock?
Well, you know what? That's probably, if that's the way you feel, then please do that. You can do that all on your own. But I'm going back to the people that had the most contact with this child and the ones that seem to be changing their stories. If that's a problem for you, again, you don't need to be here. Just my opinion.
So were you instantly thinking something's wrong, or were you like, he may just be already in the shower, in the living room?
I took a second and walked through the house looking for him in case he'd gotten up and was trying to get breakfast or something, because he did that sometimes. About 3 minutes in, give or take, I was on the phone with my husband. I said, "I can't find him." He said, "What do you mean you can't find him?" I said, "He's not in the house."
And so at that point, is that when you call 911, or what's going through your mind?
While we were on the phone, and I was like, is he on the other side of the bed? The normal places he may be in the house, and he wasn't. So I was like, okay, well, hold on a minute. And immediately after that, we called the sheriff's department.
I want you guys to hear that. Immediately after that, they called the sheriff's office. She still hasn't left the house. She still hasn't drove the community. They immediately call law enforcement. She reaches out to him within 3 minutes. And they immediately call law enforcement after he asks her to check here, 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 and here.
Made a report on all places he may be in the house, and he wasn't. So I was like, okay, well, hold on a minute. And immediately after that, we called the sheriff's department and
By the way, the sheriff's department call came in at 6:34 in the morning. 6:34 in the morning. She was on the phone with him at 6:03 in the morning, just to clarify the immediateness of this call to 911, or not 911, to law enforcement.
report.
I ran all over the house, outside, inside. I looked in every closet.
Within minutes, they were here. They responded within minutes, and
Still hasn't left the house.
here we go.
So you said you were on the phone with her, so you were not home.
No, ma'am.
Okay.
I was at work. I'm a tower crane operator, and I was working in Memphis at the St. Jude project. So it's, I have an earpiece in that talks to my phone. I have another earpiece in that does the radios.
We have confirmed that he was not at work at 6:03 in the morning on his crane operating it at the time that this call would have come in.
So when she was talking to me, I was like, what? I was confused. We talked about where he could possibly be, And then we went from
Don't worry
there,
about me.
led to calling the cops, and here we are now.
And within minutes, there you're at the home.
Yes, ma'am.
It was rapid fire. They had cars.
They
They
lied
had cars from here down to the
main road.
road, as far as I could tell.
So what's going through both of your minds? I mean, are we panicking? Is it this, oh, I think he's probably at a neighbor's house, or what are you thinking?
My son doesn't run. He's not a runner.
Probably at a neighbor's house, or what are you thinking?
My son doesn't run. He's not a runner.
Probably at a neighbor's house, or what are you thinking?
My son doesn't run. He's not a runner. He's never run away before. Run away before. I don't know why. I don't know why he walked out that door.
Bullshit level, DEFCON 5.
I mean, he's a good kid. He's not a mischievous child by any means.
So my question is, why was he always in trouble? I guess is my only question, because it seems like they always talk about him not being in trouble if he comes home. You know, we heard from Seth that Chris would call him and say something to the effect of, you know, he's grounded. He needs to be grounded at your house. Seth said he stated, well, you tell me what he's in trouble for, and I'll let you know if I should keep him punished here. Because again, his father only gets him every other weekend, so he doesn't want him on groundation the only time he gets to spend with his son.
But there's answers to questions that have no answers, you know, or questions with no answers right now that we are searching for desperately, and we just don't have that.
Is there anything that happened that day that you think back and there might have been a reason he was possibly upset, or something outside that could have enticed him to go outside? Was there anything that came to mind?
We've been combing over that day and even the weeks before he left, and I haven't been able to figure it out. He's that morning he was laughing, he was joking. Everyone we were around that day agreed that he seemed like he was in a good mood. He was behaving.
So he was not a mischievous person, but he was actually behaving this day, the day before. She's referring to Sunday. That those statements don't bode with one another. I'm confused, and this is why it doesn't make sense to many of us, because I got to be honest with you, it's very confusing. They say one thing in one moment and another thing another moment. You know, I don't get that problem with Seth Rogers. I'm sorry, I just don't.
It'd make more sense if we'd been fighting.
Or he'd been in trouble, but he hasn't been in trouble. So, I mean, the $1 million question, why did he go? And the other $1 million question is how.
What about social media? Was there anything that, you know, anyone he could have contacted? I understand he was somewhat of a gamer, or what was he? There was a video game he loved, right?
Minecraft. He loves Minecraft. The game that he has is not online. He has the Switch.
We don't, because of how social media can be, he doesn't have accessibility to communicate with folks on internet. I mean, we have a firm belief that we just don't feel right now that he's capable of having that kind of responsibility. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, his phone is locked down, his computers, his gaming. He doesn't have a gamer tag. He doesn't have online capabilities with games. I mean,
good morning, Tony.
Every electronic. I
mean, we've cooperated with all the authorities as far as anything they've asked us to provide, we've provided, and still just don't have any answers.
Did he have any friends that could have possibly contacted him in some way?
We learned from Duchess there were at least 2, but he was socially awkward and didn't make friends very easily, and all he prayed for every birthday and Christmas was to have more friends. So let's listen to what their response is.
On his phone?
All his friends at school have been questioned to my knowledge, and none of them knew anything.
So this big question mark. He's vanished. No.
What do you have? Give me a second. What do you have? How do you have my sunglasses? How did you get these? Where did you find these? What are you into? What are you into? She had my sunglasses. A pair of them.
One can figure out where or why. All right, so let's talk too about the relationship involved, because the biological father is very much involved in Sebastian's life as well.
Yes, ma'am, very much.
Right? And how would you describe that relationship, the 2 of them and the 4 of you?
It's relatively good. I mean, we talk regularly. He talks to his son on a regular basis, sees him on a regular basis. He's involved in school and therapy, and I mean, he doesn't have any extracurricular activities, but I can tell you now, if he did, his dad would be in the front row.
So now we see how they think about Seth. He's a very involved parent. Where this story has gotten so screwed up is the hate channels. The hate channels.
I mean, 2 different households. And the communication between the 3 of us is great. I mean, yes, we're just like every parent. We all have our disagreements, but in the end, we come together as a team and we work and we come up with solutions that as we best see fit. I mean, I'm almost in contact with him almost daily.
Let's talk about Sebastian.
And I'm sorry, I think that's a little odd too, to be in contact with the step-parent on a daily basis. Is it he's talking about since this incident happened, or is he talking about since they've, had the blended family type of situation? I'm unsure.
Tell me about Sebastian. How would you describe him?
Sweet, stubborn. He loves to help. He loves running, and he loves to play his games and his fidgets and Uno. Lord, that's one of his favorite games right now. Favorite color is green.
Does he love music?
Oh, he loves music.
An eclectic taste.
I mean,
I mean, from, as everybody knows, Eye of the Tiger to Eddie Vedder.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. So we got Pearl Jam on one hand, we've got Survivor on the other over here, we've got Taylor Swift, and
he's got a big crush on her. I mean, country, rock, classic.
We don't allow the hip hop.
Well, he doesn't really get into it anyways.
You mentioned he loved running. So did he love the outdoors at all? I mean, would something outside that was somewhat outdoorsy be enticing to him or pull him outdoors?
He loves, like, when we were in California and the school had this lap thing to gain money. It was a fundraiser.
So since she's talking about way back when they were in California. I just caught that.
He loves, like, when we were in California and the school had this lap thing to gain money.
Nothing recent. California. Wow.
It was a fundraiser. And every year he was, I did this many laps. I mean, I've got t-shirts where they would write on his back. Every time the kids went around, they'd mark a mark on the back and they'd keep running. And he just had marks all the way across his back. He likes playgrounds. He's
Oh, yeah.
being dirty. He don't like being dirty.
Again, so they keep everything I hear. I can literally make a list of all the reasons why this child would not leave that home in the middle of the night, just based upon the statements made by the mom, the stepfather, and the biological father, Seth Rogers.
Yeah, he's not your tomboy style child where he goes outside and plays in the mud.
Or goes outside and plays at all.
He loves animals, but he's terrified of bugs.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I mean, even a fly, and he's like,
Even a fly.
And let's talk too, because he's highly functioning. I know you all have described him as having a form of autism,
he does.
but describe that to our viewers too, as far as his way of thinking of things and maybe how determined he was about certain things or his mindset.
He
He's got a stubborn mindset. If he believes it's this,
he gets on a one-man track, and he is just on it, and he is all about it.
but I mean, he's very smart.
He's
I mean, he can play chess. And he can beat adults in chess, and
he loves playing games.
What about navigation? Like, did he have a sense of direction? Do you think he could have possibly even hitched a ride or gotten a ride on a bus or some sort of transportation?
Just to answer this question from Cheryl, why did Seth? From my understanding, the reason why Seth had to talk to the step parent is because he was always the buffer. We hear that in one of the other interviews. We haven't quite gotten to it yet, but you will hear in other interviews information about this. Again, we're going back to the very beginning. Many people say that this is focusing on two parents. In all fairness, that lady right there that you see on my screen was the last person that was with this child. And we've already heard some changes in the story from the very first interview she gave 2 days prior to this one being released. One was on the 3rd. I believe this one was actually taken on the 4th, but it may have been taken on the 5th and released on the 5th. I'm unsure.
that is a speculation that we don't have an answer for. Just directionally, he knows he could guide you from our house to his dad's house.
Yeah.
He could get from like this house. I think he can make it up to Culver's ice cream.
He can go to Culver's.
Oh, the boy loves
He knows
malt.
where Culver's is because Culver's has malt. He loves malt, extra malt. Every time, extra malt.
Now, how far away does his dad live?
Clarksville. His dad lives up by Clarksville.
So he could guide someone all the way to Clarksville.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. Okay. So a pretty keen sense of direction, at least with certain things.
Familiar routes.
Yes.
Familiar routes.
Familiar routes.
I mean, if I took him another route going
He
this way, he
takes
would
it.
not know it.
He goes up there so often that he knows how to get to his daddy's. We know that.
His dad works with him as far as, well, we're going this way, we're going that way, and
His dad works with him. His dad works with him. You never hear those statements come out of their mouth related to them, but they've had high praise for Seth Rogers during these times. High praise.
keeps the same thing, and it works out. So
Keeps the same thing and it works out. These are important statements because it shows you the behavior of Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. The doing the same thing over and over again is beneficial. There were several arm brushes.
Let's talk too, because earlier, Chris, you and I were talking, and you were saying that there are a lot of people who are harassing both of you. What, if any of that, do you want?
I wonder if those people got POs and arrested. Just curious, because I wasn't involved in the case at this time. Just curious. Asking for a friend.
To address? What do you want to say to any of these people?
Just that you don't know. And I don't wish you to ever know.
I would say it like this. Everybody has an opinion, you know, and it's perfectly okay to have that opinion.
Takes money, Holly. Takes money.
You're not in this situation. You don't quite understand. I wish people would step back, take a different wide open view, and not assume what they know. It's just better to stick to the facts.
Well, the facts that we're hearing, in all fairness, is that this child wasn't a runner, hates all this stuff, but we're supposed to believe that he just walked out the door in all this stuff he hates. You know, I mean, at some point, somebody has to come to realization that this stuff doesn't make any damn sense. It just doesn't make any sense whatsoever to me. And if it doesn't make sense to me, I've got to imagine that there's a lot of people like me out there that this isn't making sense to. You know, that's the problem. That's because nobody can explain this to us. And every time we asked, we're met with, well, I can't talk about that. You know, I haven't been, I was told not to say this. I was told not to say that. I can't say this for security reasons. I can't say this for HIPAA reasons. I can't say, you see where I'm going? It's not the fault of us for being skeptic. You know, it's not for us. You know, it's not our fault for being skeptical when we're presented with all of this information that doesn't bode with one another. And that's kind of where we're at. None of this is making sense to us. We're 7 months in. This stuff happened literally within days of this child's disappearance, within a week of this child's disappearance. And so this is what has caused us problems, is we don't understand and nobody's clearing it up for us. Moreover, get out of there. What are you doing? This is not a playground. That is my whiteboard. Stop. Quit licking it. I don't know if that's toxic or not. Well, hi. Okay, she's playing with me. And so even fast forwarding it to 7 months, a lot of these things that we were concerned about early on are still the things we're concerned about 7 months into this. So, you know, apparently the stepfather was on another channel, a hate channel, creators channel, just the other day, and could have closed some of these worry boxes. Like, you know, everybody's been talking so much about this lie that came from a person that is known to lie about him leaving for 2 hours. And first it was one of his one of his co-workers' wives, and then it changed to Tony, a person that this person has never spoken to. And all of a sudden, everybody's taking it as the gospel with not one scintilla of receipts. We put receipts out there when they produced none and just had their words. We can debunk their words now. Whether they want to go on a tirade of this, he could have done this and he could have done that. Then prove it. Then prove it. We definitely know that this lady here was the last one that saw this child. We definitely know that. Okay? That's a fact that we cannot dispute. Whether Seth took a lunch break or not is a fact that cannot be disputed. Where's the receipts? Where's the receipts? That's all I want is receipts. Quit opening your mouth if you have nothing to back your mouth up. I say things, whether I show the receipts or not, I have the receipts if I need to show them. I don't show receipts because I refuse to bow down to the games, the word salads of these hate channels where they can just say anything without producing one scintilla of receipts and then expect everybody to use receipts to debunk them. They are lying. Tell them to produce the receipt to confirm or corroborate what's coming out of their lips. Because we have been saying for months this man was at work. I didn't even want to release those, but I'm just getting so tired of how much BS is being infiltrated into this case with not one scintilla of receipts. They need to produce receipts if they're going to open their mouth, because that's the standard for me. That better be the standard for every single person, hate channel and all, on these platforms. If you don't have the receipt, then shut the pie hole. Just saying. If I'm offensive, oh well. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty shit show. Excuse my language.
If they have questions, all they have to do is ask.
And I pray genuinely that no one ever goes through this.
Just be kind to people. I mean, that's real simple.
There are some people who have been talking, because I know this is part of the harassment. Is there anything you want to address about this child custody situation?
Laughing.
So I have a current case that is ongoing in another state. We've requested that case to be sealed because there are some individuals who have taken it upon themselves to put stuff out there that they don't quite know, which all they have to do is ask, I'll tell you. But because of that, it has nothing to do with our son. It has nothing to do with the situation. I just people would respect that and then keep an open mind. It's totally different.
If Sebastian was able to watch this, and maybe he's watching this as it airs.
And I just want to make a one minor note for everybody, even the bush watchers. The person that said Sebastian's name the most was the lady right there on the screen. That's who said Sebastian's name the most.
And if he is, what do you want to say to Sebastian? What do you want him to hear from you right now?
Oh gosh, that we love you so much and we want you to come home and you're not in trouble.
Why do they keep saying he's not in trouble? Do you guys get the theme here? I'm sorry, I have to keep hitting on it because it doesn't make sense to me. It just seems like this poor boy was always in trouble because that's what they keep saying is he's not in trouble, he's not in trouble, he's not in trouble. Why do they have to keep saying that? These are questions I have that are going unanswered.
I guarantee you he is loved. And trust me, the open arms are waiting for him to come home. From every parent to every family members to probably everyone in the community. But there's no malice that we just want our boy home.
There's no malice. We just want our boy home. I don't understand that.
Bad. But
That mama's heart. I know it's daddy's too.
She's more emotional than the parents. Sorry. Not sorry.
But I feel like there's always that extra special bond. Can you walk us through what you're thinking right now?
I just want my baby to be okay. I don't know where he's at.
Let's talk about the community because I want you all to know. Even my church body, I mean, we're all praying for his safe return quickly. What do you all want to say to the community?
Thank you.
with everything from the bottom of our hearts. I would not have imagined how far this has gotten, but there's no way to repay the gratitude, the love that we have felt from the community, the prayers. But thank you.
But don't stop looking.
Yeah, please.
My son is somewhere.
Well, we know when you say don't stop looking.
So we have, let's mention.
Hold on a second. I don't know why my phone. Hold on. There we go. It froze. I don't know why.
The search itself, because we know thousands of miles have basically been traced and retraced. We've got hundreds. We've got volunteers. We've got law enforcement from within the state, from without, outside of the state. I mean, do you feel like they're doing as much as they can? I mean, you all have been right there in the front seat, seeing everything that's underway.
As far as I know, they're doing everything anything and everything has been an option. They have brought in assets and resources from various counties, potentially other states. I mean, I don't know how much more they could do, but we're grateful for everything they have done.
They're amazing, but they still haven't brought my baby back.
They will. They will.
He's out there somewhere. So it's basically, it's one day at a time, getting through this and bringing him home. What is the reaction to the fact that somehow his image, he hasn't been captured on any video anywhere?
I know that it was very dark that night. I mean, it gets dark around here at night in general, but so far we haven't found him on any camera footage to prove where he's at or where he's gone.
No camera footage. We had it confirmed by law enforcement through the news, and now we have it confirmed a few days later by the family. So no video, not even a haze, not even a shadow, nothing has picked this boy up on video camera, but he's walked miles in front of stores, homes, all outfitted with Ring doorbell cameras and CCTV footage. Just, I want to make sure that that's clear. How did this boy leave this home? Which direction did he leave? There's only two ways out of that community, period. Two ways. One takes you through a construction site and through a new community to Long Hollow Pike, and the other one takes you directly out of the neighborhood to Long Hollow Pike. So anywhere, including the school, should have picked him up. So why is he not on any surveillance video? Because no matter which way he would have went, he most likely would have walked by his school, a very familiar area to him.
I know that they're looking, and I went asking everybody and anybody that has cameras, trail cams, stores,
Traffic cams, thank you, Seven.
to check, even from before he went missing, just to see if there's anything at all.
Even before he went missing, to see if there's anything at all. That was an odd statement. Let's listen to that again. I didn't catch that the first time.
Before he went missing, just to see if there's anything. Stores, to check, even from before he went missing, just to see if there's anything at all.
Then we heard that in the Elijah Vu case. Remember, he disappeared on the 20th, but they wanted a videotape all the way back to the 12th or something like that. Or maybe he disappeared on the, I can't remember. I think it was the 12th. And the last sighting we saw, I think, was on the 14th or the 16th. And that was at the Napa Auto Parts store. So why would law enforcement be going back? So just, that's a clue and a cue.
And I understand there was a request for video, any sort of footage of Sebastian from earlier in the day on Sunday before he disappeared.
That I don't believe we can comment on right now. That is not something that I believe we're privy to at this point.
Before he disappeared. Request for video, any sort of footage of Sebastian from earlier in the day on Sunday before he disappeared.
Did you see Chris's face when he was asked that? Let's listen to that again. Look at Chris's face when he's asked that.
Earlier in the day on Sunday before he disappeared.
Look at their faces when they're asked that question. I'm just saying. They look like, why are you asking me that? They look angry with the question. Let's see if they change their faces to answer it.
That I don't believe we can comment on right now. That is not something that I believe we're privy to at this point with law enforcement. That is something I would definitely direct back to them. But I I mean, there's all kinds of requests out there. There's thousands of hours of video that they are combing, and we're just hoping they'll find something.
And I know this is so sensitive. What do you say to people who inevitably end up pointing their finger back at you? We were talking earlier, and I mean, are you both in the clear?
I can tell you that Mom, myself, and the father have worked very fully and cooperatively with all agencies across the board. We have anything that they've wanted, we have provided. So cooperation is there. I mean,
So far he hasn't told this lady they were cleared, but he told Duchess they were cleared.
What do you want to say to our viewers? Anybody who's watching, we've got a lot of folks in this community and in other counties just throughout the state as well. What do you want to say to them?
Help spread the word and keep searching, and thank you. And
I don't recall hearing a thank you. Just a mild observation.
Warning, warning, bullshit alert.
And just if you think you see him, call him in.
thank all the viewers, everybody that's helped from across the board. I mean, everybody has been tremendous.
Call his name.
Yeah.
He'll answer, and if he doesn't answer, he'll look, even if he's not being verbal at the moment, because he can talk, but sometimes he don't talk. Call his name. Tell him to stay put.
And he could be on the move, so keep checking your properties.
Yes. Like, the search is never over until he comes home. That is for
He's
sure.
so smart.
But thank you for everything that everybody has volunteered, the continuous efforts. I mean, it's, like I said, I've never seen something to this magnitude before.
Our community is amazing.
We're all praying, hoping, and searching for Sebastian's safe return for that day. Thank you both for talking with me.
All right. So there were some differences in the first story and the second story. Still, in either one of these stories, there's no leaving of the home. There's no cousins. There's no trash. Would you quit trying to dig in the garbage can for tissue, please? You're making a mess. Oh, that baby girl. That baby girl. You got a doggy fish. You got tissue still hanging out of your mouth. Spit it. There you go. This is what happens when I'm in the office. Everybody teases me because I settle her down. And the only place I can settle her down is either on the couch or in the living room or in the bed. That's it. That's all I got. That's all I got. But behaviors, they seemed, in my opinion, they seemed a lot more upbeat than they should have been. It seemed like they would go from, trying to be serious and laughing, so to speak, like grinning in some spots and stuff like that. It was just, it was a good interview, but this was the full interview. This is not what the world saw. This was released after, a lot of people had reached out to this news organization to release the entire interview, which she did. And I can tell you, in my interviews, when I'm dealing with either a deceased individual or a missing individual, it's hard to do an interview in one take. Usually, I'm accustomed to having to stop several times through the interview to allow the parent to compose themselves, because it's such, they're so filled with so much grief that it's, some of the questions you ask just make them break down, and so we'll have to, now granted the recording's still going, but you have to give them a few minutes, and all of that's cut out of the video because you don't want to show that in there. But this one was, my understanding, the full video of the entire interview, and it doesn't appear like it was cut too much. It sounds like that they had 2 cameras set up, one pointing at the parents, one pointing at the interviewer, and then they just kind of spliced those together. Is there stuff missing from this interview that we don't know or haven't seen? I'd have to say it's possible. It's possible. Some people said, there was no tears. It's dry crying. It's hard. I will, in all fairness, just FYI, it does appear that there were no tears coming. I don't know if that's the case, because sometimes it's hard to see the tears on camera unless the lighting is hitting the tear, and it makes, so I don't want to go that far. But after this interview, they do not show their face at all. They did not show their face in the first interview. The second interview, this one, they showed their face, but they didn't show their face in any other live interview until Chronicles of Olivia. After that, they had their emojis on when they were on other YouTube channels, and any other mainstream media interview that they had done, they showed their hands or they didn't show their face. I think there was only one other interview, mainstream media interview, that they did, and that was on the 7th, 2 days after this one. So we're not quite there yet, and we'll hear the Nashville. This is the hands interview. They would not show their face, and they didn't show any pictures of Sebastian. You know, that the name of the game when you're getting interviewed, excuse me, I'm having hiccups. Typically, whenever you have interviews, I'm accustomed to the parent having a photo of the child, bringing up, like, even the flyer, having something there. So, like, even if they did their hands interview, putting a flyer of Sebastian next to their hands, so you're seeing both of it. I'm accustomed to that, and I think the only one that we didn't have the photo of the child or a flyer was Michael Monkey Vaughn, and that was Brandy Neal. And the reason why that was is we were on the outside of our home. It made it very hard to have something there. And quite frankly, I forgot to ask her to grab a photo of, so that was kind of my fault. And long story short, is I'm typically accustomed to, when you have a missing child, you have the missing child's photo in the interview. She wasn't holding a photo of him. She wasn't really talking about him. These are, again, things that have us concerned and why we're feeling the way we're feeling. Now, if there's ways to resolve this, I would think within the last 7 months, or darn near 7 months, right? These things would be discussed, so everybody's worry box can be closed and we can move on. I mean, granted, let's be honest, nobody wants to be pointing the finger at family or anybody if it's not legitimate. But I can tell you, just on my fact finding alone, that I did after all of this, again, wasn't involved during this time. I didn't get involved into this case until March 16th. Okay? March 16th is when I got involved in this case. So this is well past all of these interviews. I had to go back and review these several interviews before I started looking. And remember, I was going through some of my own personal stuff, so I was very cautious at the beginning of this case not to point fingers and just talk about the facts. But the more we kept hearing, the more we kept watching, the more our minds were starting to be made up that this is not how what we're accustomed to when dealing with, well, one, educated people, people from the military, and a missing child. We expect certain behaviors from parents. So we've never gotten those certain behaviors. And that's always odd for us. And it makes us question it. We see it in Seth. I mean, from the very first interview, he's breaking down. He's crying. He's upset. He just wants to know where his son is. He's not even he's spending one little sentence on the hate and everything else on his son. We get the total opposite with the mom and the stepdad. They spend all the time talking about themselves and what they're going through, and very little about their child that's missing. And so these are things that we've been observing for quite some time, and why we feel the way we feel. Now again, it's been 7 months. If the people are having a problem with people's commentary, maybe clarify it. Maybe provide them something that can disprove their theory, you know? And we're not getting that. We're not getting that. What we're getting is that everything we're hearing just in these 2 interviews, which we haven't gone back to these 2 interviews in months. And what are we learning? Again, we're learning that this child didn't go out of the home very often, was not a runner, hates dirt, hates bugs, has sensory issues, has problem with loud noises. These are all the things that the parents are letting us know. This is not stuff that we're making up or embellishing in any way. These are coming right from their own mouth. These are things that you can go and listen to and say, okay, well, you know, we hear this. So anyways, this is where we're at. We are at March 5th. So we're moving through this. Again, we've learned that this child disappeared. We're very hazy on what happened that morning, because we're told on one hand that, and we're not quite there yet, we'll get there, but we're told on one hand that this child, mom wakes up, goes in the room, he's not there, she looks around the house, takes 3 minutes to look around the house, and immediately calls the stepdad. The stepdad says, look here, and within minutes, they call law enforcement immediately, okay? So out of these 2 interviews, that's the information that we've learned out of this. We've got no taking out the garbage. We do have a telephone call, which was not discussed in this interview, but it was discussed in the Dutch's interview. And so we do have, and we still don't have the cousins in this variation of the story. So I think so far there's a lot of information, a lot of details at this moment that we don't know about yet. We know about them in our head because we know how the story goes, but we have to be with where we are in the times of this case. And right now, this child doesn't run. So far, we haven't learned that he took the garbage out. So far, we haven't learned anything about any particular friend or friends. It sounds like he has a hard time getting friends. He's not on the internet. It's removing the stranger danger aspect. They've removed that themselves, right? They removed that themselves. And they talked about him walking out the door and locking the door behind him. That's all we know. But right now we have no visual confirmation that he walked out the door or locked the door, because we also learned up to this point there's no scent or any video footage of him walking anywhere. And so if we were to take the mindset of an autistic child, if they were to walk out of the house, they're going to go somewhere familiar. The closest place of familiar to this home would be the school. The schools do have cameras. We haven't been a privy to those cameras at the school. But the one thing we can say is I'm almost certain that law enforcement would have went and pulled the footage from the school. And even after, that would have happened in the first few days. So now they've had time to preview the footage, and therefore they would have known whether or not he walked past that school. And they're still stating there's no videos of him at all, and no scent. That's what we know on day March 5th. March 5th. Exactly, Tammy Crimes, exactly. These protective orders will bite them in the ass, so Betty, don't stop fighting for Sebastian. I'm not going to. Why do you whimper and run away? Do you know, are you just camera shy? You don't want to say hi to everybody? Come here. My little baby girl. She's just not, she's being stubborn. She's being camera shy. All right, guys, I've been on with you guys for entirely too long. I've got a mess of court documents that I've got to and am still working on. So I'll be in this seat for most of the day today and just working my arse off today. It came out that the Foots were having, yes, that was told to us. I think we haven't gotten quite there yet. We don't know. At this stage, March 5th, we know none of that yet. We know none of that. We're going to follow this through. So we have no information about that. We're going to get back to the articles and bring us up to the next interview, which the next interview will be March 7th. And March 7th is the hands interview, and that was done by Fox 17 Nashville. Fox 17 Nashville. We've only got 2 mainstream media. No, we still have the Nancy Grace on March 25th. So we only have 3 mainstream news interviews, and those are Fox 17, WSMV 4, and the Nancy Grace Show. Those, I mean, there were other interviews, but they were not interviews with mainstream media. They were interviews with alternative media or social media, if you will. So we're going to get to those. We'll be following and we're going to be listening to this as this stuff is unfolding, and we're going to be able to do it in real time. Well, the real time's already passed, but we're going to be able to do it in chronological order of what has happened in this case. And hopefully this clarifies, going through all of the facts that we know them, hopefully starts clarifying this for other people's minds, bodies, and souls. Because let's face it, there's something here that stinks to high heaven. We all know it. We all feel it. And let's keep diving in to see if there's something that pops out new. The things that, again, we've watched this stuff many times, but the one thing, the key takeaway is at this point on March 5th, we still have no information that he took a garbage out, and no information about what happened in that home up until 9 p.m. None of that has been clarified. We don't know what happened from the time the Texas Roadhouse, them leaving the Texas Roadhouse, to when Sebastian went to bed at 9 p.m. We have no information so far. And if I'm not mistaken, I don't believe we'll ever have any information for that, 2.5 hours of time, which is a little odd to me. What was Sebastian doing for 2.5 hours before he went to bed? The vague response about it is he was playing in his room, and then he went to bed. But he was out all day. At what point did he get a shower? At what point did he brush his teeth? You know, those are things. Just like the next morning, we learn that she's up at 6. She goes into his room. He's not there. At what point did his mom have an opportunity to get dressed, brush her teeth, and comb her hair back? Because when law enforcement met her at the house, she was fully dressed. So according to what we're learning, she popped out of bed, went and woke him up, and all hell broke loose. You know, he wasn't there. She's frantically looking around the house, and they immediately call law enforcement, and the cavalry shows up. So I'd like some more clarification on that. Anybody talks to, talks to Seth, talks to Tony, maybe they may have some information. I don't know. But I definitely would like some clarification on that, because it's hard. It's hard to make heads or tails of this at 5. But hopefully we'll get some clarification as we go through this entire case from beginning to end. This is going to be several parts, guys. I mean, we're only on March 5th. This is going to be something that we're going over. This is going to be what this channel is about for the next week or two, however long it takes us to get through everything from the beginning to where we are today. And we're moving about every single day, we're moving 2 or 3 days. So it's going to take us a little minute to get through all of this. We've got 7 months of information. But we have to go back to the drawing board. Why? Because there's details in this information that we've missed or forgotten about. And people need to be educated, because the crap that's coming out from these hate channels is not only absolutely like just bold-faced lies. There's literally not a scintilla of information out there in the free world to corroborate anything coming out of their mouth. So let's go back to the beginning and look at the true, hard, cold facts of this case as we know it, right in their own stinking words. No misconceptions, no misunderstandings, just a little commentary and criticism. All right, guys, be fearless. Don't forget to be fearless. If you see something, say something. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And until next time, please be kind, please be safe, but more importantly, please be kind to one another. So have a great day. Happy Monday. I hope somebody got something out of all this. But one thing we can say is that there already are some variations in the story. We'll talk soon. Until then, don't be sleazy. Be easy. Easy sleazy. Greasy? I don't know. I love you guys.